Good evening, everybody. Time being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order. So 1.2 on the agenda is I want to acknowledge the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Superior Treaty and that the land we gathered on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, the Anishinaabe, and the Métis people. Thank you. 1.3, administration advises that there are no additions to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? See none. May I have a mover and seconder for the agenda as follows? Smith and Eby. All in favor? All right, motion is carried. 1.4, are there any declarations of interest to disclose tonight? See none. Okay, 2.1 on the agenda. First presentation of the evening is the water treatment plant annual and summary reports and fourth quarter data presented by Mike DeRosa from Aqua. So Mike, we'll turn it over to you and then you can go through and then council will have a question period.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. First, I'll start off with the annual drinking water report. Under Regulation 170-103, it is a summary report. Under 70-103, Section 11, it is an annual report. And under 387-04, under regulation, it is the annual report for the water taking, February 28th, 2025. Under Schedule 22 of this report, it must outline the requirements of the Act, regulations, the system's approval, and any order that the system has failed to meet at any time during the period covered by the report. It also must specify the duration of the failure, and for each failure referred to, describe the measures that were taken to correct the failure. Under Section 11 of the report, the annual report must contain a brief description of the drinking water system and a list of chemicals used, major expenses incurred during the period covered to the report of installs, repair, replacements, required equipment, a summary of all adverse water quality incidents, and a summary of corrective actions taken. For the facility description, this surface water is drawn from Nipigon Bay and pumped by low lift pumps to the water treatment plant. There it is chlorinated before entering the upflow solids contact clarifier, alum and bentonite, and a non-ionic polymer are used to clarify to facilitate coagulation, flocculation, and sedimentation. Soda ash is added post-clarification to adjust the pH levels. The water then flows by gravity to the sand and anthrite filters. Filtered water is chlorinated in the filtered water reservoirs, which also serves as a backwash to water storage tanks. The filtered and chlorinated water then flows to one of two ultraviolet disinfection units and then to the clear well. Service pumps send the treated water to the distribution system, which includes elevated storage tank. A sodium hypochlorite pumping system is used at the water tower, providing rechlorination of the water as it enters and exits the water tower. The chlorine residual at the water tower is analyzed and recorded continuously, and critical control points are alarmed by an autodialer. The chemicals used during this reporting period: chlorine gas, sodium hypo, soda ash, alum, bentonite, polymer. Details of the notices submitted in accordance with Section 18 of the Safe Drinking Water Act of 16-4 of Schedule 16, Regulation 170-03 on reported spills and action centers. April 20th, the parameters were failed to meet contact time. The corrective actions were low lift started manually, and that was corrected right away. November 27th, high chlorine leaving the facility. The chlorine measured at 5. or backwash was each filter trained to remove the high chlorine was the corrective action, and that was done immediately. In this next section, there's lots of data in this section for your information. I'll spare you some time. There is no compliance issues or concerns with any of that portion of all the chemical data that is analyzed in all the treatment. For section 4, schedule 22 of the report, flows treated in accordance with the Municipal Drinking Water Act. The Red Rock Drinking Water Station system shall not be operated to exceed the rated capability for maximum flow for this treatment subsystem to the distribution system of 2,722 meters in a day. In 2024, the average monthly flow rate was 7,364 cubic meters. The average daily treated flow was 241 cubic meters. The maximum daily treated flow for the year was 468 cubic meters, representing 17.2% of allowable daily volume. The Red Rock Drinking Water Facility operated below the rated capacity in 2024. No issues. Flow, raw flow. The daily maximum flow is stated in the permit to take drinking water as the maximum flow rate of 3,080 liters per minute, the maximum daily flow of 2,954,900 liters a day. The average flow, raw flow was 8,149 cubic meters. The average daily flow was 267 cubic meters with a maximum raw daily flow of 565 cubic meters. The quantity of raw water supplied during the reported period did not exceed the terms of the conditions to take water. So all good there. System failures and corrective actions. The Ministry of Environment conducted an inspection of the Red Rock Inspection Facility January 10th, 2024 with a final inspection report and one identified non-compliance. In 2023-2024 inspection rating was at 96.98. There has since been an updated inspection report, which we will address next. During that time, during the adverse quality incidents, there was 2 AWQIs in 2024. September 20th for failing to meet the CT, and November 27th, high chlorine. Both have been previously mentioned and dealt with. Section 6 for the conclusion of the annual report for the operating year of 2024, the Red Rock drinking water system delivered water that in all of its treated and distribution samples indicates the water to be free of bacteriological contamination. In addition, the system was able to meet the demand of the water use within the town without exceeding the permit to take water of the municipal drinking water license and permit. So that was the annual report summary. If anybody doesn't have any questions, I can move on to the inspection report. Oh, sorry, got a hand?
We got a question? Councillor Eby?
It's just a minor thing to make sure that our report is accurate, where it talks about the backwash being corrected in December 6th. It actually puts the date as 2027. I'm assuming that should read 2024. That's the second of the 2 adverse water quality incidents.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Good eye.
Councillor Smith?
I just have a question regarding the for the annual report for availability. On the main page there, it says that it's not available free to the public. And then shortly down, it says public access was available to the municipal or public access notice via government office.
Yes, I believe it is to be free and accessible to the public from your municipal office during business hours.
So when it says in here, it says, is your annual report available to the public at no charge on a website on the internet? So that's no, it's not available anywhere on the internet. It's just.
That's correct.
Okay.
Councillor Eby?
Just as a follow-up, would there be an issue, Mr. Figlamini, for us to include this annual report for our community for transparency and fulsome information sharing?
I can defer that to Mike. I'm not sure. Is there a process there, Mike, that you can speak to?
I can review and discuss what is common practice if you like and get back to you. I'm uncertain as to honestly how municipalities have been handling this.
Yeah, so I think generally we can, Mike and I can speak to that and follow up with that.
I'll refer to some other colleagues and we'll come up with any issues.
Okay, so that sounds like a plan. So then there's follow-up action item there. Any further questions from council? Okay. So,
Okay.
go ahead, Councillor Eby.
It was understood that there were instances of recertification that had lapsed, and it sounds as though there.
Sure, I can speak to the new inspection report if you like, and that will address all of these.
Okay, so then I'm gonna just 1 second there, Mike. Apologies. So we're gonna go as so. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to accept the 2024 water treatment plant annual summary report from the Township of Red Rock, presented by Aqua tonight? That's the report that we just had. Now there's two separate reports. Okay. Councilor Brand, Smith, all in favor? Okay, perfect. So motion is carried. Okay, so the next presentation, the next presentation we'll go through now will be the inspection report, which is also going to be presented by Mike. This was done by the MECP. Okay, Mike, we'll give you the floor again.
Okay. The report for the 24-25 inspection of the Red Rock drinking water system and the corresponding inspection report rating and the risk methodology document. This document provides an assessment of compliance and conformance based of observations and information available during the inspection review period only. This inspection was unannounced. It was a focused inspection, was conducted to confirm compliance with the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, the MECP, legislation and conformance with the Ministry drinking water policies. This inspection was conducted on February 12th, 2025. The inspection of the drinking water system included both the physical inspection of the component parts of the system listed in Section 4 of system components of the report and the review of data and documentation associated with the operation of the drinking water system during the review period. There were 4 non-compliances listed in this inspection report. I'm going to address each one. The first non-compliance was not all operators were certified as required. I'm just using the language from the report. We did have an operator, and now I'll give you the summary. We had an operator that did apply for his license a month in advance, or sorry, reapply for his renewal for his license a month in advance. At that time, the certification did not arrive, and I believe we operated 2 days. That operator operated 2 days within that time frame while the certification was not in hand. On the second non-compliance, during this inspection, August 6, 2024, we had 2 low flow alum alarms that were triggered. The logbooks did not include the details pertaining to the abnormal condition. Low flow alum alarms was due to the flocculation tank trials. At that time, the we were putting the flocculator online. The entry was missed by being put in the logbook as to what was happening that day. No corrective action at this time, other than making sure that the operators add detailed information about what they're doing at the time when doing maintenance or repairs. August 31, 2024, a low treated chlorine alarm was triggered. There were no details in the logbook pertaining to this alarm. During the inspection, it was reported by the operator that the type of alarm is caused by long periods of plant shutdown time, which allows backflows from the analyzer to subsequently give a low chlorine level reading, which triggers the alarm. January 17th and 18th, 2025, the UV1 alarms were triggered. There was no details in the logbook pertaining to this alarm. Following the inspection, it was reported by the operator that there were low reactor issues with UV unit number 1. So while it was being repaired, it was UV number 2 was used as the standby. Which is common practice. It just wasn't recorded properly in the logbook. NC number 3, non-compliance number 3. Records did not indicate what treatment equipment was records did not indicate that the treatment equipment was operated in a manner that achieved to design the capabilities prescribed in OREGS 17003 under the Drinking Water Works Permit or Municipal Drinking Water License. At this time, the water was being supplied to customers. That incident was a failure from one of the pieces of equipment. All the operators responded to that failure properly, but because it was a failure of equipment, it does go down as a non-compliance, even though that piece of equipment is monitored and maintained properly. That's just unfortunately the way the law is written. So there is no follow-up action of that. There was no recommendation by the MECP to do any corrective action. Non-compliance number 4, operators were not examining continuous monitoring test results under the 42-hour test frame. During that time, there were 6 incidences of times which the operator incorrectly entered the wrong times of monitoring. During that time frame, it was all a verbiage issue in the logbook, all 6 days. Since then, we have changed the round sheets to reflect that type of revision, as well as all of the staff, including myself, have taken additional 72-hour review training. Observations. During the inspection review, there were 2 incidences of the adverse. Both we addressed in the annual report. The April 20th low chlorine failure to meet contact time. November 27th of the high chlorine at 5 milligrams per liter to the distribution system. Corrective actions and steps were directed by the medical officer of the health unit, and they were taken to address the adverse conditions as required. No follow-ups there. As a result of this inspection report, our final inspection rating was at 90.77. And that's the end of the inspection report. Is there any questions?
So I'll open the floor up to council. Just a couple of things there, just to point out before I didn't see anyone's hand come up. So on page 7 of the recommendation, it does state though, just so council is aware that it remains the responsibility of the owner to ensure compliance with all applicable legislative and regulatory requirements. So obviously this report's a couple of non-compliance and there seemed like logbooks. So what is the what is the corrective action? I know there was some 72-hour training taken. How can we guarantee and ensure those logbooks are completed? It seems like that seemed to be, the link in with regard to the findings. So aside from the 72-hour training, Mike, what's in place?
Sure. So what we've done is we've actually done a action plan analysis from this inspection. And just for the logbook, which it all seems to be logbook related. So we've sat down, we did training, and what we're doing is a 3-point contact. After the documents are entered at the end of that day, the next morning, our process and compliance team will be monitoring each log entry to ensure that there's compliance. And then myself, I have the logs now being emailed to me and I review them as they come in.
Excellent. Definitely reports are always going to be, they'll always find something. Nothing's perfect, but putting that in action is perfect. Excellent. Good work though. Honestly, this is still excellent work. There's a lot of responsibility and there's a lot that goes into making water. It's very complicated. So any questions or comments from council? Council Smith?
You did state that last year we were at 96%. This year we're at 90.7% for our rating. How does that 90% stand or fare against other municipalities or the average? Like, are we below average? Or we like where we at? Where we stand with that percentage?
Oh, you're still at an excellent rating, and you are above average, I believe.
Any further questions from council? Okay. All right. So is there a mover and a seconder for a motion to accept the 2024 drinking water system inspection report for the Township of Red Rock? This was issued by the Ministry of the Environment and presented by Aqua. Mover and seconder.
And if I could, I'll just add that, the communication between ourselves and the town is fantastic from every level, from the guys on the ground, Mark and myself. So if at any point you're reviewing or think of anything in the future, I can come back and speak to you at any time.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor? All right, motion's carried. Thank you very much for the presentation tonight, Mike. Thanks for explaining everything and going over everything and being available. Excellent work. Excellent work again.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, 3.1 of the agenda, the open and closed session minutes of the last regular meeting, March 3rd, are the items on 3.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? I see none. Okay, so are there any errors or omissions in the closed session minutes? Councilor Brand?
I'd like to make a motion that we go in camera for a few minutes to just discuss something regarding the closed minutes.
Okay, can I have a mover and seconder to go in to closed session? Smith, can I have a seconder? Brand? All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. We'll move into closed session. Return. All right, thank you, everybody. We're back. 7:32. We just had to have a quick discussion about an identifiable individual. Therefore, we went into camera. So I'm going to ask for a mover and seconder with regards to passing the approved minutes from in camera on March 3rd, 2025. Okay, mover and seconder. Smith. Rand. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Excellent. Excellent work, everybody. All right. We're at 4.1 of the agenda. We do not have any other resolutions from other municipalities today. 4.2 is up for discussion. Purposes regarding a sponsorship request and agreement from Live from the Rock for the annual folk festival. Any members of council have any comments? Okay, well, I'm in support of this 100%. The folk festivals, folk festival and Red Rock are hand in hand. So I think when you think of Red Rock, you think the folk festival. And I think if you think the folk festival, you think of Red Rock. So I think this is a tradition that's got to continue. So I'd like to put a motion on the table. Excellent. So council approves an in-kind donation that includes the use of Marina Park, campgrounds, and Marina building, as well as support for the town publics from the town public works for 2025 Live from the Rock Folk Festival. Good folk, good music is this year's slogan. Can I have a mover and seconder? Mr. Brand? Mr. Eby? All in favor? Motion is carried. Live from the Rock. Okay, 4.3 is discussion purposes regarding the Red Rock Fishing Game Club's annual Trout Derby, another staple in Red Rock. Do any members of council have any remarks on this? Councillor Smith?
What did we donate last year? Did we donate a prize package last year?
We donate in kind. Yeah, I believe last year was a boat slip, a rental. It was a good package that we donated, an in kind package and prizes, I believe.
Yeah, I guess the direction that we would take would be an in-kind donation. I believe what made up that actual package or parts of that package was extended hours. The township put extended hours on for use of the facility at no charge. We also had made camping, I believe, available at no charge to enhance the event. If I'm not sure how that was or how that was received, but those were the kind of in-kind donations that we made. But with that direction, we can continue that and work closely with the Fishing Game Club. Maybe they have a specific in-kind request and we can make sure we meet that. But I think the bulk of it was those extension of the hours into the docking and that for the success of the Derby.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Mark. Any other questions or comments? Could I have a mover or seconder? By Smith, seconded by Eby. All in favor? Motion is carried. All right, 4.4 is information purposes regarding a notice of decision from the Committee of Adjustment. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? I just want to say I was really happy to see that there was a timeline on this. Fantastic work by the Committee of Adjustment to have a timeline on this. 2 years, the construction is completed within 2 years of approval, so that's excellent to see. All right, so I'm going to mover and seconder to approve the minutes from the Committee of Adjustment. Councillor Brand? Smith? Yep. All in favor?
Yeah, and that one was just the motion, right? And then so no, just for information, only the motion, and then we'll get down to the minutes.
Oh.
So the minutes are at 5.1. So
Well, I just tricked everyone into passing them. Sorry, I tricked you all. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. Sorry, everybody, I apologize. Ahead of myself there. Okay, yeah, I didn't follow the script. That's my fault. So 4.5, the next item is for information purposes regarding the inspection of 25-26 annual work schedule for Lake Nipigon Forests. Do any members of council have any questions on this? Questions or comments? Okay, 5.1. Next item are the minutes from the Committee of Adjustment meeting on March 11th. So do any members of council have questions now? No? Have the same voters? Same voters? Okay, we had Councillor Brand, Councillor Smith. All in favor? All right, good work, everybody. Apologize. Try to do a good job, folks. All right, next item 5.2 are the minutes from Red Rock Public Library Board meeting on February 11th. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Seeing none? Councillor Eby?
It's more a comment than a question. Just the creativity and the initiative that our library, both the board and the staff, are exhibiting on a consistent basis is just exemplary. And the latest stuffy sleepover, and it's just it's one thing after another, and I don't know where they get all the creativity from, but we as a community benefit so much by that. So it's a big thank you.
Oh yeah, we've got an excellent library, and all the programming that goes on there, it's excellent for the community. It really is. All right, can I have a mover and seconder to approve the minutes? Received? Sorry, I received the minutes. All right, Councillor Eby, Councillor Brand. All in favor? Okay. Right, 6.1. First report is from the community development officer. So we'll let Ashley go through the report and then we'll answer questions at the end. Or ask questions at the end.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So there's not a whole lot of updates from my last report. It's basically been continuing work on the asset management plan and working with our consultants on the greenhouse gas reduction pathway feasibility study. So there's a lot of work that kind of happens behind the scenes, data gathering, reviewing reports, and documents and that kind of thing. Our community banners are currently being final draft of designs. We had a couple changes when they did some mock-ups for us. And our community brochures, I'm just working on the content for those before they get produced. So thanks to our library run photo contests, most of the photos that we use in our community brochures and in our community banners are all locally sourced. So we have the credit lines for all of our local photographers who have submitted through our library program. So that is another fabulous program that our library runs that benefits the town and our local residents. Canada Day and Paiute Mountain Run planning has begun. We're trying to get ahead of the game this year. I've had a couple of people reach out for volunteering or organizing activities, so that's been fabulous. It does take a lot of work to organize these and secure the sponsorships for them. So just a rough idea, Canada Day last year, total cost was about $5,000 to run Canada Day, and it cost the township $500. So through donations, funding, sponsorships, it takes a lot. So I'm very appreciative of those organizations who have supported us in the past. But hopefully by reaching out to everybody earlier this year, we're able to secure a bit more. I've already been able to secure some funding for Canada Day. It is on a Tuesday this year, so hopefully more people will be staying around rather than on a weekend. So if anybody has any ideas or organizations would like to host an activity, please feel free to reach out. Similarly with Paiute Mountain Run, we're getting ready to open registration. And we've already secured some partnerships for the Paiute Mountain Run. Biggest thing there is volunteers and prize donations. The rest is continuing to work in the background in between the major stuff that is going on. So, question.
Okay, I'll open it up for council. Councillor Eby.
I recognize that when any of us get an enthusiastic call from you recruiting us for an event, we often think of it as an obligation. But when you got a hold of me last year for the Paiute Mountain Run, I did not realize I'd be hanging out with a really cool teenager for 5 hours and talking motorcycles and all sorts of good things. And it created a relationship that wouldn't have happened, our paths wouldn't have crossed, except for the opportunity you created in the volunteer organization. So I thank you for that. And I encourage us all to view it not as a responsibility, but as an opportunity, because we have some amazing people in our community that we don't necessarily always know about. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And we've actually had, last year was the first time we actually had volunteers from Thunder Bay come down and volunteer for the Paiute Mountain Run. So we've actually had family members of participants come down. And so they could cheer on their family members, they decided they would volunteer as well. So we're starting to see more volunteers coming out. So it's great to have people cheering on the participants throughout the entire run. So I'm hoping to stage them in a couple more spots along the way. It is a bright and early one. It starts at 9 o'clock. So 8:30 for the walkers. So they're often leaving Thunder Bay by 6:30 in the morning to get down to Red Rock. So it's a big commitment from them, and we greatly appreciate that as well.
Councillor Smith?
Item 10.
Yes.
I'm mostly want to spike seeker too. Now we know we received a donation in kind for the Folk Fest. So I just want to, and how we're gonna have parking down there and things of that nature. So kind of ties in to this. So where are we at? What updates?
So with the
I'm gonna-
waterfront, the actual technical design report, so we haven't gone, that's essentially an RFP process. There isn't any funding right now to pay for a technical design report. But based off of our discussions from last council meeting, we were going to be looking at clearing out some more sites to use down at the waterfront so that there is kind of a little bit more designated space for campers and tenters. So that's something that the CAO we've been working on a little bit to figure out where best locations will be, layouts and some of the amenities that we would be including for those sites.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I wanted to hear, because I wanted to hear that we or hopefully, that we are clearing out some spots, putting little fire pits, picnic tables at the sites to become more, friendly, or, wanting people to stay there and show where you can stay rather than just willy-nilly person here. So yeah, I appreciate that.
So we do have preliminary costing for the picnic tables when we were awarded some funding for picnic tables to use around the community. So that's given us a rough ballpark of what it would cost to put picnic tables at each of these designated sites. So that's one. And then there's also contacts for the steel fire pit, similar to what Parks Canada uses. So I've got a contact there that we'll be reaching out to get preliminary costing for that.
Sorry. And what are the probabilities of something like this happening before Folk Fest hits and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to prioritize that. We've heard from council, and not just, I know Councillor Smith addresses the question quite a bit as that spokesperson, but we've also heard that direction from all of council, and we know the focus, and certainly we'd like to have something on some scale available for that time frame. That's the direction we've been given, and that will be a priority project as directed by council.
Don't get me wrong, I appreciate everything else you do too.
Councillor Eby?
And we recognize that we're not intending to present as arbitrary and having a pet project, but it's behind the philosophy of creating revenue and shifting our community from being a drive-through to a destination. So the more that we can reframe who we are in the minds of people, that's ultimately how we're trying to shift our philosophy of growth. So thanks for indulging that.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge priority to get people down there and create revenue and explore Red Rock. Just a couple of comments. Canada Day, I think, is probably going to be super important this year with what's going on, right? So there's going to be a lot of patriotism out there. So I think this is a good year to get down to Red Rock and volunteer, and let's make this the best one ever. Again, there will be hopefully camping spots available so people can tent here, right? That when the folk festival comes here, they get a pretty cool layout. The way it looks over here, it's like we just take pictures and say, hey, Canada Day tent over here, because I like the way they lay it out. So we've got a lot happening here, and definitely I think this year's Canada Day. And I'm going to run the Paiute Mountain Run, so it's being recorded. It's going to be online. This is my year. This is why I'm training. I'm doing it. So this is my year. So I can't volunteer, but I'll make sure my family's up there giving out water, and I'll probably maybe a ride back down the hill for me. So, all right. Any other questions? I'm doing it. I'm there. Any? Mark?
Well, I would suggest that you may want to go into closed session based on that. Very briefly.
Yep, we could do that. So does anybody have any further questions for Ashley? We could come back or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if you want to just step out, we'll briefly have a discussion I want to have with council. Then we can come back in.
Yep, sounds good.
Just a bit of introduction. Sorry, I did not have my microphone on there. If you, sorry,
Just give me one
if you
sec.
wanted to give a
And sorry about that, folks. Council has returned from closed session. We had some discussion for protection of property under a closed agenda item. Is there any further questions for Ashley? No. No. Okay, Ashley, thank you very much. Yep. May I have a mover and seconder to approve the report from the Community Development Officer? Councilor Brand? Eby? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. Next report, 6.2. Do any members of council have any questions for CEO? Councilor Brand?
I was just wondering here, removing equipment, tools off trucks and around the station that don't meet the NFPA standards. What do we do with those tools and equipment? What happens to them?
Yeah, I will certainly get you an answer. I'm not sure. I would have to ask that question, but a lot of times if they need to meet the date stamps. If they don't, I believe they become quite possibly a recycled item, or they can go back. But I'll get you an answer to that. I don't have exactly the answer at this time.
Further questions? Councilor Eby?
I didn't want to interrupt you, Mr. Figliamini. Were you planning on going through your report, or would you like us to, for the purposes of timing us, highlight questions on any part of your report right now?
So I think at this time we're going through the fire chief report,
Okay.
and then we will move down to administrative activity. It looks like I do notice a note here that we may have to alter those numbers because it looks like we had 2 6-2s, so we'll have a 6-3, a 6-4, and a 6-5. But this is the fire chief's report, and then I'll move on to my report.
Yep. So do we have any further questions with regards to the fire report? See none? Okay. Training happening, so that's great. All right, Kevin, mover and seconder to accept the report from the fire chief. Councilor Brand. Councilor Eby. All in favor? Motion is carried. All right, 6.3 is report on administrative activity. We can go, typically Councilor CEO Figliamini will go through the report and then we table questions after. You okay with that? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. If we started at summary of activity, I think it's a lot of them are self-explanatory. I'll maybe highlight a couple. Maybe if we go right down to the bottom, discussion meeting with EMS Chief Shane Muir. We were, as I stated, we were allowed or awarded a delegation or a 15-minute meeting with Chief Muir at Thunder Bay District Municipal League. We shared our thoughts on EMS, on the consolidation of the bases, etc. We had a general discussion based all around that. There was an announcement made I believe the following Monday after that meeting that the base for Terrace Bay Scriber was chosen to be in Terrace Bay. Their commitment to us then was that Nipigon and Red Rock are next. So our process will start and they will be selecting, or at least starting the process of selecting the base for Nipigon Red Rock in the very near future. We did also bring into our discussion both the Township of Nipigon and the Township of Dorian were involved with the discussions as well. Collectively, we want to see what's best for everyone, and we want to be able to serve the area. Again, the decision is not ours. I think the process will happen a little quicker than it did now that they've set the groundwork with Scriber Terrace Bay. So we'll be able to follow that. And I've met since the meeting with Chief Muir based on a request from the Quad Council to develop a reporting structure. So they've committed to that. So we'll be able to bring some kind of a report to council based on service in our area, et cetera. Of course, there's a lot of information that they can't reveal, but certainly they'll put together a report for us. So we'll keep council up to abreast on that as it unfolds. A lot of meetings. I mean, continuing to work with the Office of the Ombudsman to bring those processes to the community as they were discussed at a previous council meeting. So we're optimistic that a lot of our new policies will come to council next meeting for approval, and we'll go from there. I'm not sure. Did you want me to finish the whole report before the questions, or
Whatever your preference. I'm sorry for my enthusiasm.
That's okay. I mean, if through the mayor, go through the whole report and then we can field the
let's finish the
questions.
report first.
So that process, as I said, we're hoping to have, and we will have those new policies back to council, both on citizen respect, citizen behavior, as well as process for council dealing with that, and models to protect staff, et cetera. So a lot of that, those discussions will come out in April. If we move over to direction, discussion, and updates, I think again a lot of it is really just repetitive or there for council's information. I guess again a water main leak update. We did have our 2 additional leaks repaired in the last couple of weeks or since our last council meeting. One went very well and we were able to get that done. One we had some issues with. We had to make a decision to put the community's water off for a short period of time, hours, I believe it was, and which then prompted a boil water advisory. But happy to announce that the job was fixed. We got it done in a timely manner. We worked both our public works crew as well as staff advising the public on short notice. I think it was all handled very well, along with the work of Aqua as a team. Again, the decision was made very promptly, and the water was probably off within 5 minutes, and staff started to make those phone calls, and the public works crew started to process and make the needy repairs. Again, we were able to get them all at this time, so we're crossing our fingers and hoping that the rest of the season is friendly to us. So again, good work to all involved there. Another very important one is our audit for 2024. I think the township has done great work with our financial piece. We have our auditors in Red Rock the end of March, so early April, at which point we'll be able to put a close and report to council for 2024, and then bring 2025's budget to council, hopefully as early as next meeting as well. Next council meeting is April 14th. And just an update on our joint council with Nipigon and Red Rock and the decision that we've made to just kind of put a pause on the meeting that we had initially planned for. I believe it was later this month. A lot going on in both communities, a lot of work right now around audit, around budget, around a lot of things happening with infrastructure in that, and we just feel that the time is just not the best and we should be focusing directly on our own communities. We've had the discussion with the Township of Nipigon at the CAO level, and both of us are on the same page with that, and we'll continue to bring those discussions. We continue to work together, and if there's anything that comes out of that, we'll certainly bring it to council. And that's it. I
All
can
right.
take any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Eby.
With respect to, there's just 3 items if you don't mind, but I'll take my time. I'll do one and then please jump in, folks. With respect to the Rock Tech Lithium update that will be coming in April, we're seeing announcements in socials and in the media as well with respect to the federal government indicating their intention to provide $240,000 for the Frontier Thunder Bay / Red Rock proposal. And it's being stated verbally so far from our provincial government that they're looking at matching that with a further $240,000. How are we as a community to interpret that? Are we anticipating the government will be supporting one project, or are they looking at 2? And where does this development lead us?
I think it's a good question. It leads us, I guess, the same spot we have been for many months. It's unknown, right? So the process goes back, and you have multiple lithium companies vying for the support of the province and the federal government to move forward. So there was a recent announcement that Frontier Lithium was one of those companies. It is well known that, or speculated that they will look at 2. So that, I think, is the chase for second place at this point. What we do know is Rock Tech Lithium, if that is one of the Frontier companies that gets chosen, that they have selected Red Rock as their desired site. So very early in discussions. I think if it was announced that it was Rock Tech, I think things would move significantly faster, obviously. But at this point, it's ultimately a kind of a shuffle game to meet the approval of the province for funding. So I mean, it could be a great thing, It could be something that unfortunately doesn't happen, but the direction so far has been to stay in the process and look to see where that is, and if it and then of course once you get to that stage, if we do, then that's where a lot of the work begins as well, right? So the community engagement, etc. There's a lot to the work or to a lot of work to do in a process like this still to come.
Thank you for clarifying that. It helps our community to have an understanding that we're not walking away from a rose ceremony where only one was handed out. There's a potential that there still is an opportunity for us. So thank you for that. With respect to your auditor item, would our council entertain a discussion at our next meeting with respect to focusing our procurement on Canada-based or alternates to US procurement? So you had spoken about the emergency system that we have, the software, that is a $2,000 purchase. It's for 3 years. It's coming up again. Might we, instead of going on a item by item, if we could shift our philosophy and our guiding principles around procurement? Is that something council will be willing to talk about at our next meeting?
Well, I guess there's a buyers group that's doing audits in Canada right now to see. I'm not sure if the municipalities have been contacted yet. It's procurement. I'll have to get you the branch of the municipal or the provincial government, but they're doing audits right now and requesting, which procurement is, what are you using that's not Canadian? So
Yeah, no,
contacted?
I think it's a good question. It's fortunate, unfortunately, one I can't answer because I take the direction of council. If council was to direct us to procure only within Canada, then we would do that. I would think, and in speaking to some other CAOs, you would want to adjust your procurement policy to state that as well, right? Because currently we're based on, procuring based on the best value as well, right? So, I mean, not even, does it state, okay, well, the best value outside of America, right? Within Canada. So I think there would be some, and I think you're going to see a lot of this. Where your procurement policies are going to be reviewed and or altered. I guess at this point you are seeing a lot of resolutions go through at the council level with support, to try to support Canada and fully understand. I mean, I'm very cognizant of what's going on in the world. It's something that's concerning, but it would be a decision of council, and the direction we would take would be from council if we were clearly directed to only purchase Canadian products. So that would be, again, something that could be brought through a motion or a resolution. And again, I would still caution that we may want to do a little bit more homework on that at the administrative level before, based on our current procurement policy, because I think you would be challenged or could be challenged on a lot of ways as well.
Yeah, and so the branches Supply Ontario there, so there's a current audit going on in the province. Definitely, you could be challenged again, but yeah, continue on, Councillor Eby.
I appreciate that. And this isn't meant to be a reactionary, impulsive, emotionally driven request for a discussion. It's meant to reflect our changing need for stability and alliances and agreements that we can have confidence in. So you would definitely be invited to that, Mr. Figler meeting. We recognize as a council the extensive collaboration and relationship building you've done all along the North Shore within the province as well. And so we'd want to be informed by you of what other municipalities, what insights, what trends. What I'm proposing is not a motion today. It was, may we engage in a discussion to start exploring how we can best serve our community's taxpayers at these challenging times.
Yeah, and I think the process I could certainly undertake, and I have spoken to numerous others, and is kind of that collective work we do a lot of together between our regional and our North Shore CAOs in particular is speaking to how you handling this kind of thing, right? And we do have a good group of us that have known each other for years and years in the area, so we can speak to that. I did, and I have seen some communities that have done it. I believe the city of Dryden has went exclusively into Canada with their purchasing and are looking at that very closely right now. But I could certainly look farther into that, bring back more information to council. I guess we don't like to share our opinions here on world issues and this and that, but I certainly understand the discussion and the request, and I think it's one that most people do. So I could certainly look further at it, and we can go from there.
Go ahead.
The third item was with respect to the Ombudsman's report. The great thing about living where we do is we get a chance to go for a snowshoe in the bush and reflect upon everything that's passing over our desks. And that one,
Which report are you referring to, sir?
there was a reference to the meeting with the Office of the Ombudsman on March the 11th.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask, in reflecting upon how all the dynamics that were identified and how we're seeking resolution and we're seeking healthy movement forward, I was wondering if council would have an appetite for us to have a discussion at our next council meeting to consider the creation of a community engagement strategic plan, a strategy plan for our council, so that we could look at ways that we could be intentionally, consistently, and sensitively engaging with our community so that the community felt more engaged and more driving of our council's business. Recognize governance, recognize operations, how we complement our work together with the staff. Recognize that we have such expertise and such passion within our community for how our community is, where it's headed and how we work together. And if we were to consider how we as council can do certain things, I have a draft that I was going to bring forward if there's an appetite, but I would think it could be an organic process where we look at how we can reach out as councillors and bring that back, harvesting the insights, desires, and wisdom of our community to move forward. We have some mechanisms in place. Those are well-founded and they're justified. But I'm suggesting that we also complement that with relationship building and a sense of joint ownership for how we move forward as a community.
Yeah, I think if you want to send something into Mark for an addition to the agenda, you can email him and put that on the agenda to discuss further, I think. Let him have a review of what was going to be presented and add something like that for sure. Are there any further questions? Could I have a mover and seconder to accept the report? Smith? Rand? All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Okay. Is the remuneration just for information purpose?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's why.
I can speak to that.
Okay, so next item is relating to the report on 2024 remuneration for members of council. Do any members have any questions for Mr. Figliomini? Councilor Brand?
Under local boards, under my name, there's a registration fee. Is that? Can you just clarify what that would be?
Yeah, I think I'll answer that and then maybe just give a brief summary. I would assume that, and I never like to assume, but so that is you sitting on the health unit board. I'm thinking that there was a course that you may have taken or a session through the health unit that would have been that registration. So the local boards are represented by district social service and our health unit. So those numbers are separate but reported through the township. So I'm thinking there may have been a session that you took through that process.
But this is not the township paying for that. Is that correct?
The township does not pay for that. So
Okay.
that goes through
Okay.
local boards.
Yeah, thank you.
So what this report does, I mean, it meets transparency, it meets compliance. What we then need to post this on the municipal website prior to March 31st. It's part of the act. What we ask of council is just if you see a discrepancy in tonight's report, just report it to us. Otherwise, this will be the report that we produce. So it summarizes, like I said, both the council as well as the local boards.
Okay. Any further questions from council? I see none. All right, 6.5 is the declaration of surplus for a 3-door fridge located at the recreation center. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Figliomini? See none?
Yeah, I can speak to it, sir.
Okay.
And then if there's still a question, then we'll field it
Okay.
that way. So what we have here is a 3-door fridge. You can see the model. You can see the manufacturer. Significant issues with the fridge. So constant repairs, constant downing of a restaurant that operates out of our facility. And happened at least twice in the last 30 days. Actually, we leased the restaurant with it non-operational at that time, waiting for parts. So what we're looking here, we know that there's issues with it. We've spent significant amounts of money repairing it, bringing in contractors to repair it. What we have done is we made the operational decision. So we have purchased 3 new fridges, small commercial fridges, that are significantly less than the repair that we put into it last time, which was as recent as a month ago. What it does and why we made the decision to make this purchase was it doesn't down a restaurant. It might down one fridge. She gets equivalent space. She's got the depth she needs. They're commercial fridges, so we don't inconvenience our tenant, and we give her a solution that works not only at the moment, but also in the future, because that worst case is, I mean, you hope all 3 don't go down at once, right? So we met with the leasee of the restaurant. I met with her. I proposed this option to her, and that this is what we wanted to do. So we've now got the 3 fridges. They're in, and our proposal is then to surplus this unit. And I mean, we're trying to look at ways to save money on repairs, and the amount of money that we're putting into repairs, and the amount of time that you're down or bringing in those type of services from the city. It's really unfair to someone running a restaurant in our space. She can't trust it. We did recharge it, and it was operational, but she can't leave at 7 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night and pray that it's still going to be operational in the morning. So really, you're not using it to the full ability that you can use it. So proactively thinking, we made a decision, and I think it's personally the right decision. We've installed 3 new fridges in that unit. I don't think we'll have any more issues moving forward, and we won't be absorbing the astronomical repair costs that go with it. So, and I think there's still some value in selling it. So we'll be able to surplus that and turn over, and it's kind of the direction we've wanted to take with both facilities as well as infrastructure. You know, we're looking at trying to improve. We're trying to purchase new or new units, new vehicles, etc. We're really trying to make a step forward that's positive. So this is just a simple request of council to put this for sale and get it out of our way.
Any further questions? Can I move her and seconder? It's Brandon Eby. All in favor? All right, motion is carried. All right, so we have no bylaws tonight, no new business, no unfinished business. No closed session. Confirming bylaw. So the next item is to confirm proceedings of council, bylaw 225-1388. Can I please have a mover and seconder to approve the proceeding passed? Eby? Smith? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, the next meeting of council will be held on April 14th. There will be only one council meeting held in April, as the time is now 8:28, and there's no further business to attend. I, as chair, am pleased to declare that the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.